Okay, hello. Oh, let me see. Yeah, and we are back. Okay, so I did some more thinking yesterday. So we are going to take a look at an updated API of state machines. But before we do that, I just wanted to go through a comment, which was really nice. Mr. I'm not sure what his name is. Yeah, something. He's been following along from the beginning, which I really appreciate because you have really nice comments. One thing is like keeping me motivated to continue doing this. I'll probably do it if nobody's watching, but still it's super like extra motivational for me when I get feedback that it's useful for others as well. But also you share your knowledge and come up with suggestions and just really nice input. So I just wanted to go through this comment. Let's make it a bit bigger. Oh, there we are. Yes, I missed it. So what he's writing is that it's important to clear a misconception that pixel is the same as a screen pixel. It's not. It refers to the CSS reference pixel, which is a very interesting read. My point is that I don't like working with REMs because of two main reasons. So I guess this, I don't know too much about this, but the pixel thing is like when you're on an iPhone, like 1 pixel is 2 pixels and stuff. It's the density of the pixels. So you kind of have to take that into account, for example, with pictures and stuff. That's why you have to create like twice the size of a picture on an iPhone, because it's going to like squeeze it down or up, or how is this down? Yeah, like the pixel density is bigger. Like it depends on how you look at it, but the point is that the pixel density is bigger. Yes. So the two main reasons for not using REMs, first is that I cannot conceive a situation in which you would want something to refer to the font size. What people actually want is responsive scaling, which is, I totally agree with that. It's not about the font size. It's just the value you change to get the responsive scaling. You end up doing mental arithmetic because you actually want pixels. Yeah, and that's you actually want pixels, and that's kind of I see that point, but for me it's really about the pixel. It's about the relative thing. So I just want the relative sizes. I don't really want by pixel changes typically. Again, I'm no designer, but that's I in terms of margins and paddings and stuff. It's not about the pixels, it's about the relative distance between the stuff. But yeah, if you do want pixels, it's mental overhead. Yes, the second reason is that I do not find the interfaces that are user configurable and arbitrarily scalable by changing one value. Use case, yeah. So yeah, if you implement a interface for the user to actually change the size of things, having just one value isn't really realistic. In my experience, people want a DPI-aware interface, which is the problem that was solved 10 years ago by using pixels, which again do not mean screen pixels at all. The problem of accessibility and user configurable zooming is partially solved by existing browser mechanisms, and providing a configurable scale slider is something that needs thought, in the sense that you won't get it for free and need to put work into it. Since you don't want everything to scale by the same factor, this is a problem on sites like Reddit, where trying to zoom for bigger text means that the sidebar completely covers the text you were trying to read. That's really interesting. And if you are in that position, neither REMs or pixels will save you. Yeah. So how would you? I'm curious how you would solve that. Yeah. Again, I'm not too knowledgeable about this. But yeah, it's really for accessibility reasons, and sadly enough, the history of accessibility on the web is not really that good. So we tend to take shortcuts there. But yeah, I would be interested in like how do you actually handle this stuff? That would be awesome to hear about. On another topic, you mentioned you can only add backlog items if you are in, so this example, when we add a backlog item, you have to be in the add backlog item state and the authenticated state. Blah, blah, blah. But consider this, that you have to be authenticated is granted. But do you really have to be in the add backlog mode? And that's like there might be a scenario where you have like live sharing of backlog items. And yeah, I totally agree. Like this is very explicit. And in this case, like this far in the application, I only want to be able to add a backlog item from the UI, like the action of adding a backlog item, only when you are on that screen. But if we, because we are going to have live feature here, but adding a backlog item from someone else, if someone shares it or basically adds it in your family, then it will trigger this one on backlog update, and it will merge that backlog in. So I said that, okay, we can have streams of backlog items. That can happen in any state of the application. You being on the home, add backlog item, edit current week or plan next week. But the action of actually adding it from the UI, that should only happen when you are on the add backlog item state. So that's kind of to be explicit about that. But this is the point I'm making here is that with the Matches API, you have the possibility to express explicitly when something should run. And then there's a discussion like what do we want to explicitly define? That's always a discussion. In what states should you actually be able to do this? Yes. Imagine if you was an API and you had a post change mode. Let's see. Let me read the rest. But you really don't have what if someone shares a backlog item with you? I draw some parallels between what you do in Overmind and an API, which is normally stateless. Imagine if your app was an API and you had post change mode. Yeah. I have to think about that one. So let's continue so we don't spend the whole session on the comment, though it's a very nice comment. I have a feeling that front-end field just took a years-long trip to find out what we should be keeping functions pure in state as mutable as possible. And along the way, we had to experiment with a lot of very verbose, cryptic and clunky and cryptic stuff, RxJS, sagas, blah, blah, blah. I totally agree with that. Only to now go back to our roots. And it's really interesting. So if you, for example, look at Rust, completely different language, that's actually mutable, which is why it's so performant. But that's only part of the story. Like immutability and mutability are very different in terms of performance. It's way more performant to do mutability, but it's much harder to control. What Rust does is actually they have a lot more control on their mutations. So they have kind of found a really good way to do this. But this is exactly what we do in Overmind as well. We control the mutations. And that doesn't only make it more performant, but arguably it's also more straightforward to express mutation than like when you change something in a mutable way. The API you use in a mutation world is typically more straightforward than the APIs you use in an immutable world. Again, you can just look at these libraries, and then you can argue, yeah, but we learn the imperative way, like the mutable way at school and stuff. And that has just made us biased to that kind of APIs. Maybe that's true. I don't know. For me, for example, take Reduce. Reduce is a functional pure API, or should be pure, but it's not, there's a mental overhead there. I would argue hard that just doing a normal for loop and then pushing stuff into an array, for example, is much, much more clear for anyone. Doesn't matter what your bias is. than having a reduce where you have like the first argument being the return value, and then you have to update it and return it and stuff like that. It's yes. But there are certain things that doesn't necessarily express better in a mutable world as well. Yes, anyways, blah, maybe the API should be stateless, has some merit. Think of gigantic 10 detour we took, keeping session ID and will restore the statelessness of maybe that you're doing in your app is doing a client-side API. But in this, I could conflicting. Yes, okay. Yeah, there are a couple of things I haven't commented on here. I'll be sure to actually comment on this. But yeah, super awesome feedback. I learned some stuff, and I hope it made sense to you as well. So let's get back to our app. Let's see. So what I did yesterday, I did a little bit of thinking, and also I made an update to the API, State Machines API of Overmind. So hopefully it's deployed. I could at least check. I could at least check that it works. Let's see. Okay, so the API is changed now. So I expected it to give some errors here. Let's see. I was hoping that yeah, sometimes this, oh, there's a new version here. It doesn't seem that typing always updates for some reason, but that happens in VS Code as well. That you install a package and the typing doesn't update. You have to like refresh the damn it. Did I get an error when I deployed and I didn't check that? New transition API. That's interesting. I thought we were good on this now. Let's see. Overmind. Let's see, iConfig. Do we have like state machines here? Oh, sorry. We should just go to here, state machine. Machine methods, matches. And again, we don't have the latest version. What? I actually fixed this. I even tested it. That's too bad. That's too bad. Let's see again. We have, let's see, it should be a JSON response. Okay, so what I realized yesterday with some help from Fabrice, a guy I work a lot with on different projects, is that this is like a 4-way kind of stream. So we're improving Overmind, testing out state machines and state charts and stuff. We're also looking at Stitches, which is another library. And then we also fix bugs in Code Sandbox. And what was the fourth thing? Oh, a 3-way thing, I guess. I think it was 4 things. Anyways, at least 3 things. So we're looking at Overmind, Stitches, and Code Sandbox at the same time, which is, well, of course, we're building an app. That's the 4th thing. But it's really nice to kind of look into all of these things and improve them. Let's see. Let's look for Overmind instead. Was it? No. Where are you? Oh, I guess I have to add it again. Let's see. Here we have Overmind. It's version 24.3.11 registry. What's the latest version? So yeah, it seems like we still have a bug in. I have a feeling it's a caching issue. Because we do depend heavily on caching in Code Sandbox to make it fast. And then when you keep updating versions and stuff. Yeah, see here, this is actually the next version. 6.2.2.6. And we are on... Oh yeah, this is interesting. Okay, so it actually knows about it, but when I added it, Overmind next. Oh, now it worked. Interesting. Maybe it's the... Okay, so what we do when we add like a tag, when we add a dependency in terms of typing, we go to the registry and we download the registry to figure out if there are any typings there. Maybe that's the thing that's cached. I will take a look at that. Overmind React next. Okay, let's see. Check the caching of grabbing types for a package. Yes. Because if we then check on next and then we cache that response, and next time we check the typings for next, it will just instantly give it back, and it doesn't give like the actual latest version. Use version. Okay, anyways, let's fix this thing. So what I did is that I talked about changing out so we don't pollute the state that much. I got an issue where I was giving like a state name the same name as a state transition. So now it's an actual transition API like this. Authenticating, and then oh, did I? Oh shit! I might have done something wrong here. We'll see. Oh no, I think it's good. We'll transition into unauthenticated. Oops, root, and then we'll transition into this one. This makes it a little bit more verbose, because as you can see, like the transition has 3 arguments: the state you're transitioning into, the entry, and the exit. But we'll see how this feels like. I have to try it. Like if you're building a... Oh, yeah, sorry. If you're building a library, you should actually use it in your apps. Oops, here we also have transition home. Cool, that's it. And then we'll also matches is okay here. Our state here should be okay. Blah, blah, blah. Our state, it's the same API for its state. What I do want to fix though is the, oops, not UI components, but components. One thing I forgot to change is here, matches. Oops, off. State of matches. Come on. Let's see. Cool. But there was still, yeah, why is... Didn't I make sure that this kept its typing? That's not good. That's not good. Let's look at what I did here. So I have state. Yeah, this is interesting. This should have worked actually. This should have worked because so we have this, what's it called? Generic state. That has to be one of the states, and then the first argument is that state, and then we use that to give the state to the entry. But for some reason this is not actually... typed. Oh, I did check that. I'm pretty sure I did. Maybe I didn't. Okay, but maybe we can figure this out together. I think this actually works on Code Sandbox. I'm a little bit unsure. I'm not sure if we actually... Well, we can see. So let's try to do something here. Entry, current. What if we just say that this is a string? Can I say that? Yeah, no, we can't actually do this on Code Sandbox. Okay, so we have to check this in VS Code, but maybe we can look at that together because we need to get this working first. I was sure I had fixed it, but okay, let me, but before we move on, just explain what I changed. So instead of having that explicit state transition, you have this more generic transition function you use to move into a specific state, and then if it works, it will run this callback, and when it leaves the transition, it will run this callback. What I also did is that when you use these state machines and you do transitions, you want to return them. Think of them as promises. So you want to return them from the action. And also if you do a transition within a transition, you also want to return it. So the way this works is that when you have an entry, and you return a transition that has an entry. So what happens is that the action will stop executing when the transition is done. Meaning that if you were to do something async inside the transition, it will wait for that, just like a promise. Think of it as a promise. But what's interesting is that if you have an exit, it will rather wait for the exit to trigger before the action stops running. So the action will keep holding on to the context and keep running until the transition resolves itself, either that being based on the entry or based on the exit. So you don't really have to think about this, it just works. But the good thing is that now you can do state changes in the exit, and you can like return a transition there, do other stuff, and yeah. So I think this will make a lot more sense now, and it will certainly work better for us. But okay, let's see if we can, where is Overmind? Let's see if we can fix this typing together. That would be fun. It's a good thing I spend all this time on the typing, so you don't have to. It took a long time to figure out the typing for Overmind. It seems so simple, which is a good thing. But yeah, like generally in app development, if something feels simple for the consumer of the tool or app, it probably took a long time to figure it out. Okay, this is our... Oh, is this the problem? What has happened here? That shouldn't be there. Was that here as well? No, that was cleaned up. Yeah, okay. I guess I actually added a test for this, but I don't think I... Yeah, this is interesting because it's working here, I think. No, it's... Oh, interesting. Yeah, or. Yeah, it shouldn't be or. You see that on the Oh, sorry. The state here says that it's the state foo or it's the state bar, which is wrong. Since we're transitioning into foo, it should only show this state. Okay, so what's wrong? It's kind of weird that it doesn't work, to be honest. Close all. By the way, I have something cool to show you next time. Oh, did I close everything? Next time, I built this async stringify parse JSON thing, which Overmind is going to use to pass data between the client and the dev tools. And the reason it's async is because there's so much data going through, so it causes jank in your application, especially if you have a lot of data. So like the passing of data is quite a bit slower, but at least it doesn't block the app. I can show you how I implemented that, because it's like it's actually, well, for me, it's really difficult. Okay, anyways, entry. So what we want this to be, so this is the weird thing. We're having a generic, we're saying the state we pass in here becomes this generic, and then we check if our states extends that thing, like the state we have here. And then that becomes, oh, maybe it's because we have, well, yeah, maybe it actually was wrong before as well. Because what do? Yeah, we do the same. This is kind of interesting. Let's see. So we have a state of foo. Okay, so let's just try to type foo, because I'm not sure if it's this part or this part that causes the issue. So what does it say now? Yeah, it still says the same. And I think that's because of this part. Yeah, now it only gives the foo thingy. What if I bring back the state now? It should still show only the foo. Okay, so the problem is, oops, the first part. So when we add this, we are giving like the states, all the states, but we should really only give it this one. Yeah, so maybe I just did this the wrong way. We should really put this thing, but I find that funny that how the matches API works. Yeah, strange. Oh, I think maybe, oh yeah, I remember now. Because if I were to do this, I think this will work, but the problem is that now I'm not able to transition into anything else than foo. So maybe the state machine, yeah, I think, okay. So what I think we need to do, we need to change the typing a little bit here. So what we want is like, what is all the states and what is the current state? So currently we only have all the states, and then we can give it like a state extends states, I guess. I think we can say that. Yes, we can say that. And then we say that the current state is the state. Let's see, is the state. Now these two are exactly the same by default. State, blah, 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 blah. Do we point to it anywhere else? State. Oh, sorry, that was a transition. And definition. Yeah, these are the states. That's cool. When transition. Yeah, I think this is okay. And yes, I think all of this is okay. But what we're able to do now is we can say that, okay, this is going to be interesting. Now current, we still pass in states, but then we can do this second thing. So we can say that maybe require, state machine. Oh, sorry, we need the same here. Equal, extends t states equals states. Maybe we should have this. I don't know if we actually need this down here. Oh, equal states. Extends t states equal states. Okay, so what? Oh, this one. I'm doing it on the wrong thing. Machine, state machine. Here we need it. And then on machine methods, oh, we need it here as well. Let's see now. This is crazy stuff. But this is what I do. This is how we create public, straightforward public interfaces with TypeScript. We have this discussion internally in Code Sandbox about TypeScript. And I said, like, when I build libraries, I never type them internally. I only type the public interface, and then I just implement it. Because when I write libraries, the logic is so complex, typically, and it's I do all sorts of transformations and stuff, and making, and I also convert typing. So the typing I expose is not really the inferred typing I'm creating internally in the library. So doing that typing, and especially in the context of writing a tool and you know how it's going to work, and you'd spend all your time trying to make TypeScript understand it, I effing hate it. So TypeScript is definitely not like this perfect tool that will always cover your back. But if you consume an API that has done all this work for you, so consuming an API that is typed, that's amazing. But implementing something that is going to expose an API, that's a whole different story, at least in my experience. Okay, so we have machine methods. Well, this doesn't need it. State machine. Oh, sorry. Oops. We don't pass it in here. We just say states and state, I think. Oh, sorry. No, we say state. So when we create a state machine, it's based on the state and the machine methods of the states, I believe. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, we have both of them. It worked! Amazing. I didn't see that one coming. That's awesome. So now when we transition into a specific state, it's typed as that state, and we can still now transition into the other states. Amazeballs. But I think it should actually work the same way here. So we do this. I'll remove this. Yes. And we should, of course, also do the same here. Like so. Okay, this is good. Too bad we can't get going. I could actually continue on the app, but at least you got to see how I work in the Overmind code base. And I can even do a commit here. Okay. Let's just run the test here. I haven't actually changed any logic, so it shouldn't complain. Cool. So let's add that. And I'm using this tool called Committizen. So when we add commits, we choose like it's a bug fix, Overmind, blah, blah, blah. Fix typing of transition and matches on state machines. Cool. Yes, and then I will check this caching thing so we can try to install tomorrow and see if I can bring that up and see if I found a bug in Code Sandbox on that. Cool. So now this starts running on Travis. It takes a few minutes, but then it should be live on Next. Okay, cool. So I guess next time we'll we'll check if the typing is correct here, and then we can continue. What were we actually doing? We were supposed to implement like the UI of the thingy of adding a backlog item. So I guess we'll do that. One other thing I would love to explore a little bit is that when some of these actions always starts with like, and let's return here as well, be consistent on this. It's an async action. Is that most of these actions kind of always starts, like it just returns a transition. Maybe that's perfectly okay. Like if we do this, it actually looks quite okay. I was thinking like creating a wrapper around it, but it would basically just be this. Well, okay, let's. What I meant was you could do. I think I talked about this. You could do like guard, and then you would get the state, and you would say state matches something. And state.matches state.auth matches something foo. So you would kind of do this guard check first. Oh man. And then the next argument would be the actual action, and it would only run if stuff was actually matched like this. Which is kind of interesting. And the point is that when you get the state here, it would actually be typed to your matches up here, which I find like that would be super smooth, because the only alternative to this is to always start the action with does this match, which I'm not sure about. Yeah, but we'll figure that out. Just some thoughts. Cool. Do we have any other transitions? No, we don't. Okay, cool. That's it for now. Thanks for following along, and we'll talk more tomorrow. Bye-bye.